Have you ever felt like you're working super hard for something, but you just can't get the results you want? Well, today we're going to dive into a 2,500-year-old conversation that actually cracks this very modern problem. And you know what? The answer is way simpler than you'd think. And it all really starts with this one kind of weird question. Does wanting something actually stop you from getting it? It feels like a paradox, right? The more you desire a goal, the further away it seems. This exact puzzle was on the mind of a prince thousands of years ago. So let's meet Prince Jayasena. He's got big ambitions, he's got goals, but he has totally hit a wall. He has been listening to all this advice from the philosophers of his time, and honestly, it's just left him feeling completely and utterly stuck. So the prince basically lays out his problem. He says, look, I've been told that no matter what I aspire to, I'm incapable of achieving the fruit. And when he says fruit, he just means getting the result, succeeding. He's been led to believe it's just impossible. And check this out. This is the trap he was in. He was told if you go after your goal with a ton of desire, you fail. Okay. But if you try to do it with zero desire, you still fail. What if you mix them? Failure. Neither? You guessed it, still gonna fail. It's a complete catch-22. It's no wonder the guy was so confused. So the prince takes his whole mess of a problem to a monk who's visiting, a guy named Bhūmija. And Bhūmija listens really carefully to this paradox, and he thinks to himself, something here is just off. This whole equation feels incomplete. He starts to think everyone is focused on the wrong thing entirely. And this right here is the game-changing shift in thinking. The prince was totally trapped asking about his aspiration, how much he wanted it. But Bhūmija just flips the whole problem on its head. He asks, what if it's not about whether you want it, but about how you're trying to get it? What if it's all about the method? Now, Bhūmija feels like he's onto something big here, but he wants to be sure. So he takes this brand new question, this totally reframed problem, to the ultimate source, the Buddha, to see if he's actually on the right track. And the Buddha's response? It's basically, Bhūmija, you nailed it. He confirms that everyone who's obsessed with how much they want something is missing the entire point. The real secret to getting results, he explains, isn't some complex philosophy. It's all locked inside a single powerful word. That word is yoniso. Now, if you just look it up in a dictionary, the standard translation gives you words like wisely, correctly, or properly. And yeah, that's true, it does mean that. But it's also a little vague, isn't it? It doesn't really give you a clear picture of what you're supposed to do. But this is the real aha moment. When you dig down to the root of the word, you find something so much more powerful. Yoniso actually comes from the word yoni, which means womb or origin. So the deeper, more visual meaning isn't just do it correctly. It's do it from the very source. The secret is to start from the right place. And to make this idea crystal clear, the Buddha doesn't just give some dry lecture. He tells a story. He uses these 4 simple, almost comical analogies to show exactly what happens when you don't work from the source, when your method is just plain wrong. First up, he says, imagine you want oil. So you go get a huge pile of sand and start pressing it. You can want that oil with every fiber of your being. You can put in all the effort in the world, but you're never going to get a single drop. Your source is just wrong. Or, he says, it's like someone who wants milk, so they walk up to a cow and just start twisting its horn. Again, the desire for milk could be overwhelming, but the action is totally disconnected from where milk actually comes from. It's just a waste of time. Here's the third one. You want butter, so you fill a big pot with water and you just start churning away. You could churn that thing for 1,000 years, and all you'll ever get is, well, splashy water. You're working with the wrong raw material. And finally, he says it's like trying to start a fire because you're cold, but you grab 2 sticks that are soaking wet and start rubbing them together. All of that effort, all of that aspiration for a nice, warm fire is completely wasted because your source, the wood, is in the wrong condition. So here's the bottom line. Whether you want the result or not is basically irrelevant if your method is wrong. The right method, the Buddha explains, is to apply your effort to the correct source. And to show this, he uses those same 4 analogies, but this time he does it the right way. Getting results the right way, practicing yoniso, is like wanting oil and actually pressing sesame seeds. See? Now you're working with the right source. the result isn't just possible, it's pretty much guaranteed. It's like wanting milk and going to the proper source, the cow's udder. When your method lines up with reality, your effort actually produces the fruit you're looking for. And if you want butter, you don't churn water. You churn curds, which is where butter actually comes from. It's all about knowing where to start your work. And of course, if you want a fire, you find dry wood. When you work from the correct source, your effort naturally creates the result you want. Your aspiration, your desire, it just points you in a direction. It's the method that gets you there. All right, so let's boil this 2,500-year-old piece of wisdom down to the basics. Number 1, how much you want something, your aspiration doesn't guarantee anything. 2, your method is what really decides the outcome. And 3, the only method that works is to start from the correct source. And this isn't just some dusty old philosophy, right? This principle of going to the source, of yoniso, it applies to literally everything we do today. If you want to learn guitar, you don't start by reading a book on how to play the piano. If you want to build a tech startup, you don't model it after a 19th century farm. You have to work from the right source. So that leaves us with one final and I think really powerful question to ask ourselves. Think about your biggest, most important goal right now and be really honest about the methods you're using to get there. Are you applying your energy to the right source? Or are you just pressing sand?